This will be my final retail rant. Before I move on to the next chapter in my life, I have a lot of things that I need to get off my chest. I don't hate you, Kmart. I don't. I like you a hell of a lot more than... That's not my promo. What the fuck am I thinking? Let's start over. I do hate you, Kmart. I hate you a hell of a lot more than a lot of other stores out there. You're filth. You're a disgrace to department stores, and it is no wonder that left and right, back to front, you are closing all over the country. Nobody goes to Kmart, and nobody cares about Kmart. The only people that go to Kmart anymore are 90 years old and senile, or they're diametrically opposed to big box stores like Walmart, even though Kmart technically is. They're diametrically opposed to Walmart because they're an evil empire, which is okay on them. And or there are no smaller or mom or pop stores within 50 miles of them. Or they pass by and they go, oh, Kmart, let's see what they have. And then within 10 minutes they're walking out the door. Just like within 10 years, every single Kmart in this country will be shuttered, closed down for good. Now I don't hate the entire company of Kmart. The title, if I do make it, I hate Kmart, or if you heard what I've previously said about hating Kmart, it is this particular store that I used to work at. Okay? I was a seasonal employee, so I knew that I was working on borrowed time. That's fine. Been unusual considering that I had a schedule running all the way through Christmas, and most seasonal employees do have a schedule running straight through Christmas. But management told me that they were cutting back on the seasonal employees. You nutless, gutless fucking turds. Every manager that I had at that store was a fucking coward. Okay? If one wanted to chastise you for something or talk to you about something, they gave the responsibility to another one, and then to another one, and then to another one. That's how it went there. Some of the most nutless, gutless turds I have ever worked for in my entire life, and some of the most stupid, too. Poorly trained monkeys could have done their job a hell of a lot better than they did. I know of at least 3 people who hired in with me, who gave them specific days that they could not work, and they scheduled them those fucking days anyway. And they told them over and over again, I got classes, I got classes, I got classes. We're going to schedule you anyway. And then later, when you call in, we're going to call you unreliable. Fucking idiots. Didn't take me too long to figure out the landscape in which I was about to be employed. I'm not sour that I was let go. I mean, truth be told, I was probably fired, even though they didn't put it that way. And it didn't say that on the paper that I signed. It said that I was being let go due to cuts. I don't believe that for a fucking second, and I will tell you why I do not believe that for a fucking second. The day before this happened, the day before I sat in front of this spineless fucking jellyfish coward and was told that I was being cut, there was an altercation. 2 separate altercations. One was with a bitch named, name rhymes with, Pizza. Okay, and she had a mustache too, which is probably why she was so take charge and domineering and everything else. And Pizza wanted to boss me around, even though she was on the same level as me. I come into work, she says, okay, you gotta be here, 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 and here, and you gotta be doing this. And somebody else steps in and says, well, why the hell are you, are you in charge? No, but Mike, oops, or somebody whose name rhymes with Dyke. Okay, fuck that, I'm just gonna use real names. You don't need to know last names anyway, I'm not gonna go that far. But Mike, the assistant manager, had already given me my assignment. Within 2 minutes, I had my assignment. Go to the toy department and then clean up the Christmas department. That was my assignment. So when I go over to the toy department, and when I'm over the Christmas department, this domineering twat comes over there and says, well, why aren't you where I told you to be? I said, because Mike told me to be here and here. And she walks away, mustachioed and all. scoffing. So I get both of my areas pretty well done. Pretty well done, meaning that I got as much done as I wanted to because I knew within 10 minutes, toys, there we go, toys would be a fucking mess yet again. I was going to do the rest later, walk to the back, see if there was any stock that I needed, walked back there, sure as hell there wasn't any stock, but on my way back there, I overheard said mustachioed twat talking about how I was just walking back and forth doing nothing. So I kindly walked up to her and I kindly said, how the fuck are you gonna get mad at me for standing around and walking by doing nothing when you, 4 people, are standing around doing nothing? Doesn't make a whole lot of sense, does it? And by the way, the fucking wasn't in there, at least yet. But I was pretty hot. I was pretty incensed at this entire thing. I couldn't believe she was saying that while she was doing the exact same thing she was chastising me for. Well, I already got my area done, and I swear, the only thing I could focus on while she talked was that fucking mustache. You would think you would notice that when you looked in the mirror, at least before you fucking cracked it, and go, oh, I have a mustache, shave that shit off. No, never occurred to her, but whatever. Ad hominem, I know, but this isn't an argument. So anyway, she said, I've already got my stuff done. And I said, well, so do I. And I think you're being rude when you're trying to push me around when people in upper management have told me where I need to go. I'm sick of this. So just leave me alone. And I walked away. I sauntered away. She said something to me, but it was just the mustache talking. And I went back to toys. And then she came up to me later and apologized and said, you know, we both have pretty hot tempers, and, you know, if I get too pushy or whatever, just let me know. And I, deep down inside, I wanted to turn to her and say, we both know how that would go if I said you were being too pushy. You would yell at me, I would yell at you, and I would get fired because you are sucking lots of management dick. But I didn't. I just sort of went, yeah, okay, cool. So the rest of the day was pretty smooth. The rest of the day, you know, no conflicts whatsoever. Everything is fine except for the fucking toys and the fucking Christmas aisle. This was a shift where we were closing the store because our Kmart was staying open until midnight. For whatever fucking reason, this Kmart, which has been dead even at our usual hours, 2 hours before close, 8 p.m. to 10, nobody is in there. We have 3 customers in there just looking at shit. We got one old lady over in the Christmas aisle going, oh, that's a nice snow globe. We have one idiot over in the clothing department stealing shit. We have another idiot over in the food pantry going, well, they don't have anything over there. So for some reason, they decided to stay open until midnight. They must love losing money. In fact, at one point, when I was working there during Black Friday, I walked past nutless, gutless, jellyfish, spineless asshole store manager, Mr. Ed. Walked past him, and he said, I didn't catch the entire conversation, but just as I was passing by, he was saying, you know, we might just break even. There's a chance. Oh, you guys are fucking clueless. I kind of hope this place does shut down, especially considering some of the fucks that I'm working with right now. Anyway, like I said, 12 midnight when we close, and then we have 30 extra minutes. We're supposed to be working on our closing shit before, and I had pretty much everything done. The Christmas aisle was in an absolute state of disarray and squalor, so Mr. Mike comes over the loudspeaker and says, we need to start straightening up. All I heard was wah, 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 wah. The only thing I knew was that a bunch of people were inexorably flocking toward the Christmas department, so I'm just over there straightening this and straightening that. And Shelly, she starts joking with me because apparently that entire day I was in a pretty bad mood, okay? Especially considering what is going on. Those of you on Facebook will know what is going on in my personal life. A very close friend of mine attempted suicide and just other stuff. So I was in a pretty bad mood. I wasn't in the mood for jokes, especially because I had to work 8 hours and clean up toys. I wasn't in the best mood. So I wasn't in a foul mood. I wasn't being an asshole to customers. Because let me tell you something. I was damn good at that job. I was damn fucking good at that job. I would say so. I'm not trying to be arrogant. I was good at that. Selling electronics, talking to customers. Wasn't always the best, but I was pretty damn good. Okay, so I was rarely ever, in fact, I was never rude to a customer. And when I'm in a foul mood at work, I just kind of keep to myself. And I'd said a few certain things about, I didn't say anything too off color. Whenever she would kind of joke around with me and say that I needed to lighten up, I would just sort of be like, look, I don't want to deal with this right now. And she's like, well, you really need to lighten up. If you're so miserable working here, then why do you even work here? I'm like, bitch, name 10 people in your life. Fuck it, name one person who actually enjoys their job, who's making minimum wage. And name me 5 people who have a degree that are working a job, who aren't miserable in their job, have nothing but good things to say about their job. I actually said that she couldn't name one. In fact, she didn't name one. She probably could, but she didn't because she was too busy telling me to lighten up, throwing me the same platitudes over and over again, and I was just progressively getting more upset and more upset. So my friend Austin sort of backed me away from the situation, and a supervisor of the store, this gay Asian guy, I can't remember his name, one of the supervisors, he was, and this will be important later, he was actually sort of egging us on. He was holding up a fake sign going, round 1, round 2, with our back and forth volleying at each other. So, like I said, this will be important a little bit later. Finally, we're just yelling at each other, back and forth. And I informed her that I had some personal stuff going on. She's like, well, you don't need to bring that stuff to work with you. I got a lot to deal with at home. I got an 11-year-old kid. And I like muttered under my breath, well, I feel sorry for him. Not audible enough, and she didn't care. So she walks off with their little posse of friends, and I'm there with my only friend at that store at the time, Austin. And, you know, he's, you know, patting me on the back saying, that was cool. So I go into the break room. Everything is done. I go into the break room and get my jacket. And she's talking shit about me to her mustachioed friend. I don't remember exactly what was said. And I said, you know what? If you're going to talk shit, say it to my face. And she says, wow, you got quite the temper on you. You must be a woman beater. And I said, I was stunned at first. And she was walking away. I didn't think I was going to say anything. But then, you know me, out of nowhere, out of left fucking field. Wait, that's the wrong. Anyway, just, I exploded. I'm like, hold on. How do you go from having a temper, having a bad day, not being the happiest, not being the most peppy and jumpy like you, to you must be a woman beater? By that logic, every guy that you've known in your life, or every girl you've known in your life, could be a man beater, or a man could be a woman beater, if they just had the slightest bit of a temper, by that logic. So this guy over here that had a bad day, he must beat his wife, or his girlfriend, or whoever in his life. She's like, you know what, fuck you. I said, no, fuck you, because I have known people in my personal life that have been beaten by men. I've known women in my personal life, my mom and my sister included, who people I used to watch get the shit beaten out of them. And I really don't appreciate you trying to make a fucking punchline out of it. Statistically speaking, and everybody was around. And nobody seemed shocked by what she said. They all just gathered around her and started laughing and having a good time. And I said, you know what, statistically, one of you gals in here have probably been beaten by another man, so you should be fucking ashamed of yourself if you accept what she said and you give her no resistance, no shit whatsoever, and you laughed at it. You should be fucking ashamed of yourselves. And that supervisor told me to calm down. I'm like, did you hear what she said? Hello? So she tries apologizing to me as I'm clocking out and waiting for somebody to unlock the door so I can get the fuck out of there before I just blow my, not just blow my top, but blow the top off the store. Just, she tries apologizing. And I said, no, kiss my ass. Kiss my ass. I do not accept your apology. I will never accept your apology. That is one thing in my life that is fucking unpardonable. You may not have been slapped around by some guy in your life, and I'm glad, and you should be thankful for that. But I've seen it in action, in person. I've known plenty of women that have been beaten by guys. And once again, I do not appreciate you making some kind of fucking joke out of it. And Mustache Bitch chimes in and says, she's trying to apologize. Grow up. I'm like, fuck you. Are you gonna kiss her ass, or are you gonna get on her for what she fucking said? Instead of just jumping all over me because it's so convenient, why don't you get on her for what she said? And then the supervisor chimes in, okay, if you guys keep fighting like this, you're probably going to get fired. And I said, no, I'm going to get fired because she kisses up to you enough. You guys are all friends, and I'm just the new guy. And even worse, I'm the temporary guy, so I'm more expendable than any of you. So it doesn't fucking matter. I'll be the one to go. But I hope, and I even pray, and I don't believe in prayer, that if I go down, this bitch goes down too. Now, this was the same supervisor that was basically egging us on. The same fucking supervisor that was wanted, that was basically saying, keep going, continue guys, this is fun, this is cool, this is interesting, keep going. And all of a sudden, you're gonna be big bad tough Mr. Mr. Supervisor Manager guy and go and try to call Mike, who Shelly actually advised him against that. And I'm like, I'm the one saying, go ahead and fucking call him. So he knows exactly what's going on. Because I'm expendable anyway, right? He didn't call. But I just found that amusing. You know, the same supervisor that's telling us to stop and saying we could get fired was egging us on just 10 minutes prior. So I'm standing there, I'm seething, and I am shaking, and she's still mingling and conversing with all of her doofus dumbass friends. Every single one of them are fucking stupid. I got into it with another girl there who said that I don't want to hear any of you new guys complaining. And I'm like, what does it matter, new guy or not? Everybody complains. So we leave without incident. I go to my car and I absolutely sped out of there. My foot just, it was saying, John, let's get the fuck out of here. Brrr. Come back the next day and I start my shift like any other day, you know. And I was a little bit apprehensive because I knew something was going to happen. Even though it happened after store hours, I knew something was going to happen. So I went and found my friend Will and talked to him a little bit. And then I hear a thing over the loudspeaker, John to personnel, John to personnel. And I knew somewhere in that fucking store, that obnoxious fucking turd bitch asshole cocksucker was smiling and laughing. And had a nice tingly feeling in her belly because she got one of the new guys fired and got to get away with calling him something so reprehensible, immoral, and uncalled for. Moments after calling him rude. I knew she was loving it and she knew it was happening. I go in there and he says, hey John, well we're cutting back on the seasonal. We're cutting back on seasonals. And I'm like, does this have anything to do with what happened last night? And he said, no, we're cutting back on seasonals. And I'm like, looking at my schedule here, and I didn't say it. It's not because I didn't want to, I just didn't say it. But, you know, there are 8 work days left on my schedule. So if you had plans of cutting me as a seasonal for that reason alone, you wouldn't have scheduled me for these days, because you do schedules 3 weeks in advance. Plus, there was an entire week that they didn't schedule me after I had a separate altercation with somebody else. One that was cleared up, one that was forgiven, nothing too brash or hard. So that was pretty much it. I signed a paper. The paper specifically stated, seasonal cut, and that was it. So I walked out, and I'm going around the store talking to some of the coworkers that I can actually fucking stand and put up with and don't wish great harm upon. And I walk up to Mike. I see Mike walking around. And I go up to Mike and I shake his hand and said, "It's been fun." He says, "Well, what do you mean?" I said, they cut me. Seasonal cut." He's like, "Oh, okay. Well, good luck." Like you didn't know. Like you didn't fucking know. The assistant store manager. The one that was actually in the building when that shit happened. The one that all those little pussies probably ran to and cried and whined about how the big man swore and cussed and insulted all those people. Justifiably so. The part that they would leave out, by the way. Right. Like you didn't fucking know. Candy ass. So I go up and I talk to one of my other coworkers, one that was very nice to me, was always talked to me, always knew when there was something wrong. She'll be one that I miss dearly, and it sucks because she doesn't have a Facebook and she's not out there in social land anywhere, and I was too much of a ballless scrotum loser to ask her for her number or anything like that. But I go up to her and tell her that it's all over, I'm gonna be gone. And then after this, I have to give back my disgusting bacteria-ridden walkie-talkie. And I see Karen standing there. Another one of our stupid fucking managers. And I go to shake her hand, and guess who's standing right next to her? And guess... Every time I think of her, I get it. Yeah, you guessed it. Fucking really. I shake her hand and say, "Well, it's been nice working with you," and I give him my little deceased, fucking earwax-ridden walkie-talkie back, and she's like, "What's going on?" Like you don't know. Right-hand woman of Satan himself, like you don't fucking know. And then I made some sort of comment about how she called me a woman beater. And she's like, "Oh, not now, John. Don't do this right now." "Really? We're going to do this right now?" I said, "You know what? Fuck you. I'm out of here anyway. You're a bitch. You're an even bigger bitch. See ya." And that was it. So that is the tale of my time at Kmart. I feel better now. I do. And I feel better when I'm actually up. Fun. Been interesting. Surely, clearly, the first one or the one has been over due to this soul-fucking harp at their... but, like I said, it's good to talk about it and get it off my chest. So, thank you for watching.